In honor of this video, I'm wearing a rather oversized show t-shirt from a production of Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat I was in a couple of years back, which means I am 100% in the mood to talk about musical theatre. Hey guys, Anna Random here, welcome back to my channel, where today, as you can see from the title, I'm going to be talking about my musical theatre dream roles. I've mentioned my love for musical theatre a couple of times on this channel, but this video was actually requested by someone over on my Smash or Pass musicals video, which I'll link in the cards if you guys want to go check that out. So yeah, this is actually the first time someone's actually requested a video on my channel, and I've wanted to do this video for a while, so I thought this would be the perfect time. So before I start this video, I thought I would outline things like my vocal range and my casting type, just to give some context to the roles that I'm about to mention. So as for my vocal range, I am a soprano, and by that I mean top soprano. I think my vocal range is like an F2 to a E6. As for my casting type, I am not your typical sort of soprano casting type. Usually when you think sopranos in musical theatre, you think like the damsel in distress, the sort of love interest for the leading man. I will probably do at some point an unpopular opinions video about musical theatre. I don't particularly like those roles. I don't think they portray women in a very good light, and I just think that they're kind of unrealistic in a way. I mean, obviously musicals in the way that they are unrealistic. Like, no one's just walking along and then they start bursting into song. No one does that, right? But in terms of relatability, I find them slightly cringy. Again, I'll probably do a whole video on this because I have some thoughts on some aspects of musical theatre. So my casting type really is sort of your mezzo-soprano, sort of comedy, belter type of a role. I enjoy female characters to have a little bit of comedy to them, so that is probably going to be a theme that you'll see throughout this video. So yeah, just thought I'd give that bit of a context, and without further ado, let's go on to my dream role. So for number one, I thought I would start with a sort of classic female leading role of Elle Woods in the musical Legally Blonde. This musical I have so much love and respect for. It's so high energy and so fun, and the role of Elle just ties in with that. But the main reason why I like this musical is her story arc and her character arc and the changes that she goes through throughout this musical. She goes from being just the typical blonde girl from Malibu with her life sort of set out for her, you know, she's a sorority girl, doesn't really know what her true purpose in life is, and the whole plot of this musical is her finding her purpose in life and becoming incredibly intelligent and become a very successful lawyer. So I love that storyline. I think it's really inspirational. The songs that she gets are just incredible, like so much better. It's probably up there in like my top favourite Act 1 finales in musicals. I just love that song so much. Plus her character also has that comedy element that I mentioned at the beginning of this video, so yeah, all in all, Elle Woods, one of my biggest dream roles. So sticking with the sort of comedy theme, my second dream role is Princess Fiona in Shrek the Musical. In my opinion, this musical is one of the best film adaptations that exists in the musical theatre world. Don't at me. Her songs are great. It's a hilarious musical if you guys haven't seen it. Sutton Foster, who originated the role, love her. She is incredible, and I just look up to her as an actress anyway. The role in general is really fun. I mean, again, that whole musical is a really fun, high energy musical, you know, as you would expect with something like Shrek the Musical. You know, you would expect a high energy show, and that is definitely the case with this one. Now for the third one, I'm going to actually combine two, and I'm going to say Fantine and Eponine in the musical Les Mis. Now let's be honest, if you ask anyone who likes musicals what their favourite musical is, 9 times out of 10 they're gonna say Les Mis, and that is definitely the case for me. It is just such a classic and is still running. You know, it's one of the, I think it's the longest running musical on the West End, I think, and it deserves to be. It's absolutely incredible. Now, some of you may be asking, like, why not Cosette if you're a soprano? Again, that goes back to what I said at the beginning of this video, where I don't particularly like the typical soprano roles. I prefer a character with a little bit more to them, and Fantine and Eponine definitely have that. You know, spoilers, they both die. And plus, I can relate to both of them. You know, Fantine gets screwed over by a guy, and Eponine gets epically friend-zoned, both of which I can relate to. So there's that. And also, when I get a bit older, and if I get the chance to do the show a third time, I would absolutely want to play Madame Thénardier, so there's that, you know, sticking with the comedy characters. So now moving on to a very different show, my fourth dream role, well, kind of fifth dream role actually, is Veronica Sawyer in the musical Heathers. I am not usually a fan of contemporary musicals. I think that they're kind of commercialised and don't really have a lot of technical musicality to them really. You know, I'm not really a fan of the musical theatre machine that it's become. Again, unpopular opinions video, if you want to see it, will be coming, but there we go. But Heathers is an exception. You know, it was written by the same guy who wrote Legally Blonde, so I respect that, and I think that's the reason why I think the music is a little bit more thought out. Obviously this musical is very sort of campy and caricatured, but at the same time I really do like Veronica's character. I really like just her personality and what she has to go through. Let's be honest, the vocals in that show are just out of this world. Like, I would really like to be challenged like that. I would just really like to sing her part, really. And going from really high belting throughout a whole musical to the legit soprano that I was talking about, my next dream role is Christine Daae in Phantom of the Opera. I mean, I'm a soprano. What can you say? You know that this role is going to be somewhere on the list, despite me doing all that spiel about not liking soprano roles. This is an exception because this is such a classic musical and shows off the full soprano spectrum of a range, basically. You have to have a range for this show. Just listen to the title song of this show and you will know what I mean. Like, that is one of the reasons why I want to play this role similar to Veronica, is just the range that you get to show off if you sing this part. And also with it just being such a classic show, in my opinion, you cannot be a top soprano and not want to play Christine Daae at some point. You know, fight me, but that is just my opinion. So my next role is Cinderella in the musical Into the Woods. Now, when I say Into the Woods, a lot of you think Sondheim. I also think Sondheim. So is there really anything else to say? You hear Sondheim, you know it's a good musical. And again, I think Cinderella has a little bit more to her than Rapunzel does. Let's be honest, the entire song on the steps of the palace is basically just her overthinking everything, so I can relate. It's fantastic music, and it's a classic show. Again, 3 out of the female roles that I want to play that musical, Cinderella is the one that I would go for. So my next role is actually a musical, surprisingly, that not a lot of people have heard of. Falsettos. Does that ring any bells for anyone? If not, would 1000% recommend listening to the Revival album. The role I would love to play in that musical is the role of Trina. I'm not going to spoil this show because surprisingly whenever I mention this musical to anyone or like play the music, there's just like crickets, which makes it kind of like a hidden gem for me. I adore this music. The music is by a guy called William Finn, who is similar to Sondheim for me, very sort of complex music and lyrics that just kind of like roll off the tongue, so very similar to Sondheim in style, which is partly why I love it. The storyline of this musical is complex anyway. Again, not trying to spoil it for anyone who hasn't seen it or listened to the album. For those who know falsettos, then you know I'm Breaking Down is a mood. Listen to that song and you will probably understand why I want to play this role. Can we just have a moment for Stephanie J. Block winning a Tony? Finally, yes queen. So we are on the second to last dream role, and this role is the role of, I think it's Vice Principal Rosalie Mullins, or is it Principal Rosalie Mullins? I can never remember her in the musical School of Rock. Now she again is surprisingly a soprano range. Thank you Andrew Lloyd Webber for doing that to this musical. And again, it is a very good film adaptation from obviously the film with Jack Black. So yeah, I think they did a very good job in converting this film into a musical. They kept some of the original songs from the film and put them into the musical. There are some comedy elements that sort of underline her character, and she does have a really nice character development. Again, I'm not trying to spoil the show if you haven't seen it. I don't think it's running on Broadway, no, it's not running on Broadway anymore because it closed to make way for Beetlejuice, which is ironically starring Alex Brightman, who, if you don't know, originated the role of Dewey Finn on Broadway, so it's a bit of a trip down memory lane for him, which is nice. But it is currently running at the New London Theatre in the West End, and I actually saw it 2 years ago, and let me tell you, the talent of the kids that they cast in this show is insane. So actually, if you do go and see it and you want kind of proof when the kids are in the band and they're playing their instruments, if you want proof that it's actually the kids doing it, look up at the orchestra, right? For some reason in the New London Theatre, the orchestra is like in the top corner of the theatre. I don't know why they did that, but there we go. When I went to see it, where I actually happened to just look up at the orchestra, they were all stood up watching, like they weren't actually playing, which I thought was nice and really put into perspective the fact that the kids are so incredibly talented. So if you want to see talented kids and just basically feel like you're at a rock concert even though you're at a musical, go and see School of Rock. Principal Rosalie Mullins, love her character development, love her songs, just overall really good fun musical. And we have come to the final role on this list. I do actually have some others, so if you want a part 2 to this video, make sure to give this video a like and leave that in the comments. But yeah, I thought I would end this list with Millie Dilmont from the musical Thoroughly Modern Millie. I think I saw this a few years ago, but I'd want to see it again because since then I have like fully listened to the album and really fallen in love with this musical. So again, same thing with roles like Fiona, which is ironic because Sutton Foster also originated this role on Broadway as well as originating Fiona. So I like Sutton Foster is the conclusion we're gonna come to with this. This is a hilarious show, it's a comedy. This has incredible music, you know, it's set in the 1920s, so it's kind of like sort of jazzy in a way. If I had to pick like my favourite song in this musical, it would probably have to be Gimme Gimme. It's just such a good song to sing, you know, the role in general is just really good, sort of like belty, and you know, that song really just highlights the sort of character arc and her character development really. Great character development, great music, really fun, upbeat musical. So yeah, that concludes this video of my musical theatre dream roles. Like I said, I did miss a few off, so if you want a part 2 to this video, make sure to leave it in the comments below. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe so you don't miss out on any more of my videos. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter, Instagram and Snapchat, names for which will be as always at the end of this video, and I will see you guys in the next one.